Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Treadstone. A lot of interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. But first and foremost, let's start off with Doug's situation. Obviously, and I love the line that comes out of Sam's mouth, like, oh my god, can you check his pulse? I'm like, you shot him through the head. I'm, you're playing an act. Okay, she's like, oh my god, she's freaking out. It's like, because even in those moments, Doug's still kind of like, wait, what? Something doesn't make sense. He knew your name. It's like, he knew your name. He knew where you lived, so it was easy to find out about him. So I'm like, wow, you were coming up on the fly with these answers, because it's just kind of interesting, because you could tell, like, we obviously know, because he literally saying her name. It's like, oh, if you want answers, you should probably ask, isn't that right? She killed him before he could say anything. So I think that speaks volumes too, because even I was thinking that, I was like, maybe you can make I would say maybe the argument could be made like, oh, maybe like she went on hunting trips with her family or something like that's why she's so proficient with the gun. But it is a thing of like, you nailed a headshot. It's not like you winged him, and no, you took one single shot. That takes super steady aim. That's not something you just do by luck. I mean, granted, accidents can happen, but like, you purposely shot him in the head, so it's like you wanted to make sure he was dead, you know. So then there's the whole thing of like, he's like, you know what, we're gonna have to, well, because obviously, like, you know, Doug's like, we got to call the cops. Sam is like, no, let's think about this. I'm like, okay, you're trying, because when the cops get involved, certain people come looking. You don't want people to come looking. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's like, it's seeping through, but Doug, I guess because of the, you know, he's not trying to, you know, think otherwise about Sam, but also, you know, in the sense of like, he's not trying to look at her as like, oh, she's covering. It's like, no, he's just like, okay, she's panicked, she's freaked out, so am I. It's a very heightened situation. You don't know what's going on. But then, you know, it's like, I'm going to have to dispose of the body. And he's like, if we're going to go down this route. And it's like, you don't have to deal with that. And then she responds with, do we take your car or mine? That's another red flag of like, something's not right about this situation. And then later on, it's like, what are you doing? It's like, well, I'm pulling out his teeth. Hands and feet are how they identify bodies. It's like, how would you? She's like, I was a nurse for 10 years. It's like, arguably, that's a good cover up for that. But, you know, it makes you, because the whole thing is, with everything in the grand scheme of things, it makes you wonder how much is just purely her being a nurse and like, oh, I'm trying to protect Doug, or is it purely the situation of I'm connected to all of this, so I've learned a thing or two over the years. I'm curious, like, which it is. Maybe it's even a combination of all of it, but regardless, like, even getting him to cut the feet off and everything, and obviously learning about like, okay, what went down in the Arctic. She's bringing up the woman. He brings up the woman. It's like, I don't remember. He's like, why are you pushing me so hard? She's like, I want to understand what's going on here. You deserve answers too. And it's like, because she wants to see how far this thing goes, because it's like, you didn't kill anyone. I know you. But now it's like, she ends up revealing it later on, of like finally piecing it together, because they find a suitcase. Well, he finds the suitcase, opens it. There's that map of everything, of Doug's route and everything. He's like, what the hell is this? And she's like, all right, I got to tell you everything. She's like, I thought it was over. He's like, what? Thought what was over? And she says the magic words, Treadstone. It's like, oh, of course. Okay, it's like, so what's your connection to all of this? She was a nurse that was brought into this situation. She was meant to kind of help make them into what they are, I guess. And it turns out it is that whole thing of like, basically your entire identity, who you think you are. And that's the whole reason why it seemed like recently Doug was like, yeah, I'm kind of having struggles remembering, like, you know, what my dreams were and everything, what aspirations I have, like, stuff about himself. It almost seemed kind of so far away from it, and now that's why, because much like Steven, his entire past was erased, and this persona, who he is right now, is Doug. Everything that is his life is literally a fabrication. Literally, his situation with Sam, they met because it's like, hey, like, whoever you were before is completely gone. So maybe he was a soldier before, much like Steven. Steven was part of the military and was like, no, I'm gonna sign up because it's for the greater good of my country. I will be the weapon that is meant to protect America and American lives type of situations. Obviously, I'm sure the respective situation applies to different people, like Soo-yeon, you know, and when it comes to in North Korea. So I think the same thing kind of applies there. Of like, you'll be this asset that becomes this killing weapon that we need. And obviously, once that's done, you'll go back to being this identity with me. But I guess it's like, we had to wipe your slate clean, make you an empty vessel so it can forge you into this weapon. And then we'll give you an identity to kind of put you in a little pretty package so that you can live a normal life, but activate it anytime we need you to be, you know? Which obviously it's a hard pill for Doug to swallow, because it's like, and so that means our entire life together is BS. Who I think I am is BS. You know, it's like, it is. And once again, that's literally why the first Bourne movie is called The Bourne Identity. Like, this all stems from having an identity crisis. It's the most extreme measure of having an identity crisis, because not only is everything that you are a lie, you don't even remember who you were, you know? And that's the sad thing about it. And especially in Doug's case of, like, you know, she tries to make him feel better of, like, you don't kill, like, I think she's talking to who he is when he's not activated. You don't kill people. Who you are, when you activate it, that's someone else, that's not you. That's what they basically made you into. She's like, I even helped make you. I mean, I think because obviously she's a nurse, her medical training, probably along with Dr. Wells, like hypnosis and stuff like that, is meant to kind of help, you know, hit certain points and certain things to kind of psychologically and mentally kind of basically break someone down so that you can build them back up. Well, because by the time Sam got mixed into all of this, he was already under, like, in the sense that he had his slate clean. It's like by the time they kind of step in, the person on the other side of the mirror is a blank slate to kind of be remade, you know? And so that was just fascinating, because I feel like we never really, I mean, once again, it's been a while since I've seen the Bourne movies. I'm going to say that every time until I get my shit together and watch all the Bourne movies. I need to take one weekend and just binge on all of them. But I don't remember you ever getting the other side of that, like the way we're getting with Sam. Maybe we did, and I don't remember. I'm maybe a Julia, Stiles character, because I know she kind of played a role for Jason in that regard. Maybe she kind of played that role in the movies, because I don't remember what, like, where she was in comparison to Jason and all that. I know she was mixed up in all this Treadstone stuff, but I didn't remember in what shape or form. Maybe she kind of represented that side of things for Jason as well. Like I said, it's been a while, so I don't remember, but regardless, it's interesting to kind of get that side of things, because at least Doug has someone to explain this to them, because Soo-Yun's kind of in a free fall being like, okay, what's this all about and stuff like that. I mean, that's the craziness of this situation, because anyone could be an asset and just not know it, especially if they wipe your entire slate clean and give you a new identity. You might not even realize, like, you know, which, you know, I didn't think, you know, well, I was about to say, regardless, I forget what I was about to say. It's not important. It's just a lot to kind of, you know, take in. And it's like, that means I have to kill someone, which is like, she's kind of saying you kind of have to, because if you don't kill this next target that they give you, they've already sent him. That means they've sent people twice. Next time they're not going to play around. A full team is going to come, and we won't last a week. We can't be on the run and everything. So he's got to complete this mission, which, you know, for him, he's like, so when I get there, it'll kick in. It's like, right, because your instincts are naturally meant to kind of get you to complete your mission. It's actually interesting to her kind of breaking down the psychological element of, like, seeing the red circle is supposed to trigger something in his mind to be like, this is a problem I need to solve. And even if he doesn't really know what's going on, subconsciously he'll go deal with it, because it's like, it'll be like an itch in the back of his brain, like, I gotta scratch. Like, the fact of the matter is, this needs to be taken care of. It's an issue. So it's interesting kind of, once again, learning that the psychology behind it in that regard. But it seems like he's not the only one on this mission. There's at least, like, a group of people he's going with. Like, this lady's a target. And the whole question is, well, why is she a target? Which Sam's like, I don't know. The fact of the matter is, the CIA has their reasons behind this. It makes you wonder, well, because obviously, Ellen had brought it up last episode of, like, she thought, like, Ray was behind all this, that he's wiping out all these people. But obviously, as we see that it's not just him, it does make you wonder, is this just happy coincidence, or there's got to be more to it? Because like I said, there's at least 3 players in this regard. At least, well, maybe 4, because there's everything going down in India, which that assassin got sent to China. I'll get to Soo-Yun's situation in particular, but she got sent to China as well. I could be wrong. Wasn't, because I know the lady from India was going to Beijing, if I remember correctly. Wasn't Tara going to China too? Or was she going somewhere else? I don't remember where she was going necessarily. So those 3 storylines might converge next episode. Maybe not. I don't know. Because it is interesting that 2 assets are being sent to China, maybe for the same thing. I mean, I feel like you would only send one asset, so would you send more than one? I guess it depends on the job. Part of me wonders, is Tara going to be a target now just because she's literally in the middle of all of this? Like, it's like, well, she's asking too many questions about this Stiletto 6 situation, plus she has the codes and everything, so I would assume they know that she has that by now, so we'll see. But circling back to the whole situation, well, finishing what I was talking about was the fact is that, figuring out who's connected in all of this. But the point I was trying to make was like, there's at least, India, Russia, North Korea, and the U.S. kind of involved in all this. But what I was thinking is like, because before I threw out the thought like, oh, is this all some cabal type of thing? Or is it a thing of like, are these people who are a part of this situation, whether it be the Cicada program or the Treadstone program, that are just happening to operate at the same time? These are people who are high up in the government in each respective area that's trying to go like, okay, I'm going to do my thing and get my own personal gain? Or is this all connected? I think it's all intermingled because of the whole North Korea angle and the Russia angle about the whole Stiletto 6 thing. So it goes back to making thinking like, it can't just be coincidence. It has to be something of like, this is all some big time international play that's going on here, in the sense of like some big level arms dealing, shifting the world type of thing, and people coming out on top of it. Because even Ellen kind of thought like, yeah, like there was some deal that was kind of dead in the waters. 48 hours, after like Quan is taken care of, something that was kind of dead in the water for like 18 months immediately gets passed. It's like there's something going on here. Obviously there's, she's talking with Levine about like this whole situation. She's like, I'm not stupid. You brought me in on purpose. And he's like, yes, the reason we brought you in, yes, you're capable, but also we needed someone that was clean, someone that wasn't connected to Treadstone, so no suspicion would get thrown. Because obviously the CIA, once again, is trying to bury this Treadstone thing, because it would be admitting their own faults. Oh, we turned people into killers, and now there's one, Steven, out there kind of, an uncontrollable weapon that we basically made, and they're U.S. citizens dead on U.S. soil. That's a whole thing. So the CIA is trying to avoid a scandal, like they always do, obviously, in this world. Like I said, everything with Jason Bourne and everything was kind of on that same premise of, oh yeah, let's cover up a huge mistake, this huge giant conspiracy that's not just allocated to us, that is turned into this. I mean, to be fair, it's interesting, like once again, because we know it started as the Cicada program in Russia and now developed into the Treadstone program. So like I said, it's going to be interesting to see who all the players are in this respective situation. It's even interesting because I keep thinking like, Dan's got to be a part of this, or it is just probably him just covering his ass, because he's like telling Ellen, is like, hey, we're in this together now. Yeah, it's, I brought you in because you were clean, but now it's kind of like, you're kind of dirty now too, because you kind of got brought into, you have no direct connection to Treadstone, so you're good, but you're going to be helping me cover this up. Now that you're kind of in the know, you're kind of in the mud with us type of situation. Sadly, it's kind of the situation Ellen's found herself in. So obviously there's everything with them trying to talk to Steven, which Steven learns like, oh, he remembers bits of his life. So whatever's there, much like Jason, whatever is there before the programming stuff, even though he lost his memories, they still have their memories somewhere buried in their subconscious. It's just super buried. I mean, most of it maybe is gone, but depending on, I guess, how strong the memories are, it's enough to kind of keep at least a fragment of it there. So obviously Steven learns like he remembers he has a daughter, but because Wells was kind of pushing him, trying to, he ended up flipping the switch and all Steven saw was red, and he killed him. The dude, Wells was bleeding a lot, so I don't know if he went back around and shot him or something. It looked like there was kind of some bruising around his head. I don't know if that was from a gunshot or, I mean, what we saw was like Steven kind of stomped on his head. Luckily, Matt didn't die. I wonder, was it just because Matt, is there some part of Steven that, because in that moment he saw red, oh, this is the doctor who made me, so subconsciously he took care of him because he's a loose end? But why didn't he kill Matt? It might just be because Matt is a CIA agent too, so it's like, oh, we don't kill our comrades, he's a good guy, so just simply knocked him out. But Matt ends up catching up with Steven. But for Steven, it's like he just wants to see his daughter one last time. He knows how this ends. He knows there's going to be no happy ending for this. But he wants to see his daughter one time before he has to say goodbye, So Matt's going to help him do that, while also it's like, I'll help you do that, but you have to tell me who woke you up, because like I said, they're trying to follow the food chain, find who's at the top of all of this, activating all these people, and for what purpose. It's actually interesting because Sam had brought it up, because Doug had asked, like, how many assets are actually out there? She's like, I don't know. By the time I've was working there for 3 years, you were number 17. So who's to know, who's to say what happened, after everything. So who knows how many people really how many out assets are running around. Obviously, that's just probably talking about, once again, Treadstone. Well, what about the Cicada program? That's a whole other beast in itself, So, and speaking of Soo-yeon and everything, it was, it's interesting. For one, her like going after those guys, because it's like, oh, the guy's going after her son and her mom, so it's like, I gotta take these guys out, which pretty brutal ass fight. I even liked her kind of using the flashlight in the fight just to kind of blind them. Bam, 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 bam. Luckily, General Shin shows up, and he's talking about the fact of the matter is, Kwan, you guys can't. You're not seeing what we're doing, so why do you deserve to see the future, or something like that. So the guy's like, I'm willing to give my life for this country to stop people like you. And he's like, yeah, but, beyond that, there's more that, that has to be, done with. And Shin ends up shooting a guy. And it's like, hey, I'm a friend. It makes, well, I'm about to say, not less General Shin knew her beforehand, So it makes me wonder, was she even, because, I don't know what the military situation is like for ladies in Korea. Well, because, most we've ever seen were men in military positions. That's why I'm like, I don't know if women are kind of in that same position. Like, North Korea's not the most up-to-date with stuff like that. So that's why I'm wondering, like, is that what that is? So that must mean that maybe they purposely picked someone that was just some average mom to bring into the program. I would assume, because it's like, because she was so unassuming, which maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe she had connections before she got wiped. Maybe her situation is a little different from Doug's, whereas Treadstone completely wipes you away. Obviously with the Cicada program, we saw it with John. John maintained who he was even under that programming. Maybe Treadstone's the one that kind of worked out the kink of like, hey, why even let them be a person? Let's wipe that clean and we'll create a new life for them. Maybe that's something that's specifically to America. So maybe who she is right now is who she always has been. Maybe her identity wasn't wiped like Doug's. So that'd be kind of interesting if we find out that that's kind of the differences between the Cicada program and the Treadstone program. That could be where we go with that. Because I was thinking, like, because at the very least you can make the argument like that maybe beforehand Doug had some military experience, much like him and Steven, hence why they were kind of chosen. But regardless, so there's that. But now she's in this complicated situation of like, does she tell her husband the truth? She says she's going to the next day, but I don't think she does, because it's a lot to handle, and it's like she doesn't want to put them in danger because she loves them and cares about them, which is interesting when you think about the parallels between that and Doug and Sam's relationship. With Sam was kind of like, because he was like, why me out of anyone? It's like, because she looked in his eyes and he's like, my eyes? That's all it was? It's like, because she saw what kind of person he was. All of who he was might be gone, but who he is at his core was still there. So for her, that was enough for her to be like, I see what kind of person you really are, and that's the man I fell in love with. That's the man I'm with now, And he's asking, do you still see that in my eyes? And she was like, yeah, I do. So at least there's still some good in him despite everything else. So, and Soo-yeon is doing everything she can for the sake of her family. It's like to keep them safe. She doesn't really understand what's going on, but she says goodbye to her son because she's like, no, you have to stay here, because she has a feeling. You see her kind of crying. It's like she doesn't know if she's going to come back from this whole thing of like, there is no going back to just a normal life after this for neither her nor Doug. So we do see her getting sent to China. For what reasons, we don't know, but it all has to be connected. So it's very interesting where things are kind of set up. I'm very interested to ultimately see where all this takes us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.